Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Vickie's Country Home. We're going to a Christmas party at a neighbor's tonight, and it's potluck, so everybody's bringing something. Tonight, I am going to bring homemade cream puffs with mascarpone filling and cherry pie filling, and they're going to be so yummy. I got the idea from a post I saw on the web, but I'm using all my recipes that I have used from the past. The cream puffs I've been making for many years out of my old beat up Joy of Cooking. This is my go-to for things that are out of the ordinary for me. And I always thought they were going to be hard, but when I worked at the bakery, I found out how easy they are to make. Also, you can freeze them, and they freeze beautifully. So when you want them, if you make a lot, you want them later, you take them out, let them thaw completely, and then use them like they're fresh. So that's my cream puff recipe. My recipe for the mascarpone cream, I have a video on that one, and I used puff pastry shells and salted caramel, and they were, oh my gosh, wonderful. So I'll link to that video, but I'll go ahead and go through the recipe again today. So let me show you what it's going to take. Now this really is a pretty basic recipe. So I have a bowl here. To it, I'm going to add 1 cup of pre-sifted flour, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and I'm using kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now, if you're making cream puff pastries that are not going to be sweet, you can leave out the sugar. So we're just going to take and blend those together before we get started. And then we're going to set this aside. The other ingredients we're going to need for the puff pastry: 1 cup of milk, or you could use water, 4 to 5 room temperature eggs. I'm using 5 because these were my hens and they were a little bit smaller, and 1/3 cup of butter. So this recipe is cooked, so let's go on over to my range and let's get started making this. All right, I have a medium-sized saucepan. I'm going to use stainless steel. I'm going to put in 1 cup of milk and 1/3 cup of butter, and I just cut this up a little bit. Now I'm going to put it over about medium heat. We don't want to burn this or scorch it or scald it. What we're trying to do is, between the milk and the butter, we're going to bring this to a boil. But be ready, because as soon as it's at a boil, we're going to add that flour. Now we're going to heat this and stir it until it comes to a boil. And that noise is my oven fan because I'm preheating the oven to 400 degrees. Okay, it's just come to a boil. And I am going to put all of this flour mixture in here all at once. And then we're going to stir like crazy. Keep it on the heat. And at first it looks really ragged, but it comes together and it stops sticking. And it will start to look dry. But keep stirring for a minute more. And when it starts to look smooth when you press on it with the spoon, it's done. Take it off the heat. And this needs to sit for 2 minutes. That lets the temperature cool off just slightly so that when you add the eggs, they are not going to cook. Alright, this has sat for 2 minutes. We're going to add 1 egg at a time and beat it in thoroughly before we add the next. And we're looking for it not to look slippery before we add the next egg. As you see it, I think you can see it still looks a little slippery. Alright, this no longer looks slippery, so we're going to test it to see if it's ready to go. So we're going to take a small amount of the dough and I hope you can see that. If it stands up like this, when you put it on the spoon, the dough is ready. Now I only added 4 eggs, but that got me to the consistency that I needed. So now comes the fun part. Now I have a baking sheet with parchment paper on it, And you can do this one of two ways. I'm not trying to make large ones, so I just put a small amount on 1 spoon. And just drop it on, and you can kind of swirl it a little bit if you want, but it's still going to be pretty after it puffs up and bakes. But I prefer to put it in a large pastry bag, and any kind of large tip. This one is a star, but I don't know if you can see, but it could be a round tip. It really doesn't matter. So just fold the top of the bag back and scoop it up and put it in the bag. Scrape it down with your fingers. And then we're just going to pipe it onto the bag, and I just press and hold till I get the size I want. I don't lift up till it's done. And leave plenty of room in between, because they will puff up. And if you want, you can twist it while you do it. Makes it even prettier. Now, if there's a peak that you don't like, just wet your finger with a little bit of water and press it down, and it'll be fine. And this one will be ready to go in the oven. I'm going to get the rest of these piped out and ready to go in. Alright, I have these all piped out. Now I'm just going to sprinkle lightly a few drops of water over the shapes. Kind of like you would sprinkle laundry. And then I'm going to put these in a preheated 400-degree oven for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to reduce the heat to 350 and bake them for about another 25 minutes. And I've got two different sizes here, so I'll have to keep an eye on it. These are more of a bite size, and the others are a little bit bigger. So let me get these in the oven. I'll bring you back when they're all done. Alright, I just pulled these out of the oven, and I just put them all on one baking sheet to cool. They need to cool completely, so probably half hour at the most, because these are pretty small, as you can see by the size of my hand. They'll be like bite-sized little cream puffs. So I'm going to let them cool, and then we'll come back and make our mascarpone cream. Well, my camera did not record when I was making the mascarpone cream for the cream puffs, so we're having a do-over. And this is after Christmas, and we're just going to have to eat some cream puffs. That's all there is to it. Mrs. Lori You're welcome to come get some. I'd love to have you. But I have to show you something that actually I received from a friend that night that I took the cream puffs. It was her annual Christmas party, and she made special gifts for us ladies. And I love this thing. She made an owl from a sifter, some canning rings and lids, a collapsible steam basket, and then all of these kitchen utensils. And it is just so flippin' adorable. I'm gonna hang this, but I had to show it to you. And what makes it really, really special? This spoon right here was her mother's, and she put this on this for me. So, Terry, thank you. I love it. It's adorable. And I love you. So, thank you. Isn't that cute? I think this thing is just flippin' adorable. And that is part of the steamer basket on the bottom. So I'm going to be hanging this up, but you won't see it in the videos. I don't have a space behind me. So tonight we're going to make the mascarpone cream. So we'll just have to eat some more. Now this couldn't be easier. All you need is an 8-ounce tub of mascarpone cheese. Holding it right side up for you would help. Just a small little container. And we're going to add that to a mixing bowl. Now it's helpful to have this at room temperature. I didn't, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to beat this just a little to soften it. Now to that, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of heavy cream or whipping cream, whatever it's called where you're at. For some reason, I've seen it called both before here, so I don't know. But heavy cream or whipping cream, 1.5 cups. And I've got the correct apron on for this because you need your fat pants on. This is not diet. And it is a little messy. Now I could do this in my KitchenAid, but it wasn't worth pulling it out for. That quick. I mean, just soft peaks, that's all you have to do. Now to that, you can add 2 to 3 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm using white granulated for this. My organic, raw, natural just does not dissolve as quickly, and we need it to get mixed in and dissolved. This is so good. So much richer than whipped cream. If you're gonna splurge on a dessert, do this one. It's just good. Okay, now we'll go back to a couple weeks ago and finish the video. All right, they are ready. Now I'm just gonna cut off the top of these using a serrated bread knife. And I'm gonna fill the center with the mascarpone cream. And then I just have cherry pie filling that I'm going to put in the center, and there we go. This really looks so much harder than it is. Now I'm going to finish filling these, and then we'll come back when I'm all finished. Alright, I have them all filled, and now I'm just going to lightly sprinkle with powdered sugar. And they are finished. Aren't they pretty? Now let's have a taste. And I'm just going to eat a small one, and I didn't even put the pie filling in this one. It's just the mascarpone cream. These are so good. The cream puff is just barely sweet. It really does not have a lot of sweetness to it. But you add that mascarpone cream and it's so rich and so good. So I hope you give these a try. They really are not as difficult as they look, and they are sure to impress. They're great for Christmas parties or heck, any time of year. So I hope you enjoyed this. Please give me a thumbs up, subscribe and share, and hit that little notification bell, and that will help me. Leave some comments. I love answering your comments. God bless, and we'll talk again soon.